George's Journey is a virtual reality experience, also produced in virtual reality with the program Quill. What makes experiencing a story in virtual reality special is the level of immersion you can experience as a viewer. You are not just watching a film, you are in the story and can really dive into the world we created. The viewer can look around freely, and that leads to everyone experiencing the story differently. With George's Journey, we wanted to try what Quill has to offer as a storytelling and creation tool. All that in the process of telling George's story and building the world he lives in. The whole collaboration was done remotely, so we mainly communicated via video chat or audio chat.
The main character of our story is George, an inventor by trade and gardener by heart. He lives in a world consisting of a couple of small, floating islands, each one with a completely different climate and flora. There on his island he has his little house, and also a shed, a glass house with his precious plants, and also his garage where he tinkers on his new inventions. But he is not alone on his island. Now and then he gets visited by the curious and slightly nosy bumblebee with the fitting name Fred. For George, we started with a rough sketch of the character, just to see the direction in which we wanted to work. After that, we jumped right into VR. We wanted to build the character with low poly while also having enough detail. Because George is visible in nearly every scene, that was quite important. To make George visually interesting, we worked with curves and size contrast between his body parts. Also, to be able to animate him in the given time frame, we had to get a little creative. So his mustache, for example, was our way to show some emotions in a very simple yet effective way. Very early on we decided that our world would consist of floating islands. The islands in our world all have a theme, with George's island uniting them all in his plant collection, inside his glasshouse. Each island has distinct flora symbolizing an aspect of life. The family island, for example, symbolically is represented by a tree. The connections reach from the many roots of a tree to its wide-spanning tree crown, or simply the term family tree when referring to genealogy. Then there's the love island. The flower that grows on that island is, of course, the red rose. But we added heart-shaped leaves to emphasize the connection even more. The friends island has vines or ivy with yellow flowers growing on it, with yellow being the color of friendship, and the vines symbolizing strong bonds and resilience. On the work island we have spiky cacti and a desert climate because work has to be done and can sometimes feel a little bit tedious. The last island is the mysterious island of desire and achievement. The flower growing there is the goal of George's latest project. I started with George's Island because I knew it would have to be the most detailed one, and also it would appear in most of the scenes in one way or another. I then jumped into Quill. Having only bought my VR headset 1 month prior, the task of creating all these environments seemed a bit looming to me. But luckily, Quill is quite intuitive and easy to get into. I then started with the buildings on the island and then created the islands and its flora around them afterwards. The island was constructed with overall detail so that we would later be able to freely choose where the scenes would take place. Another challenging aspect was the combination of 2 different environments into one. Because the glass house is made of glass and therefore see-through, we had to optimize and tweak quite a bit to be able to show the view of the island from inside the glass house. There we encountered another challenge. The transparent window panes acted a bit strange and unreliable when viewed on the Quest in standalone mode. So we ended up removing the windows and instead painted in reflections and color faded the environment to make it look like you were looking through glass. After having finished the first island, creating the others was faster. It may have had to do with the amount of detail required being not that high, or us having found a good workflow and having a better understanding of the things that would work and the things that wouldn't. When you are creating in Quill, you work with given restrictions, which are the overall amount of visible triangles and the number of draw calls in the project at a time. To be able to publish your project, you have to stay under those limitations. This is so that you can experience the creation anywhere on the standalone headset without needing a beefy computer which they are connected to. This mobility of the Quest platform is a really cool thing, and we wanted to embrace that. So we had to optimize some scenes quite a bit.
To bring the characters and the world to life, different animation techniques were used. From a rig-like workflow for the characters to a frame-by-frame animation for additional effects. What stood out to me was the speed of animation. Quite complex animation could be completed in a 2-hour live stream. I think it is the combination of the 3D perspective and the fact that you really get immersed even when animating. Because you're surrounded by the environment and the world the whole time, you're just not distracted by anything, and I think you can really get into a flow, into an animation flow because of that. But generally speaking, like just seeing the characters come to life just in front of your eyes in 3D is just great. What was really important to us was to create the story in a way so that as many people as possible would be able to watch and experience it. That's why we tried to make it as comfortable as possible. It is a 180-degree experience, meaning it is designed to be watched seated without having to turn around completely. And in addition, we wanted to eliminate virtual reality sickness as much as possible, while keeping our creative freedom. Scientific research we did before starting the project showed that especially movement in the peripheral vision can lead to feeling unwell. So we decided to fade out the environment when we wanted to have fast movement. That reduced the moving elements in the peripheral vision a lot and also helped to focus the most important aspect of the story. So we kind of used this limitation as a storytelling tool as well. Like I mentioned before, in virtual reality, the viewer can look around freely, but that also means that you can't frame a shot perfectly like you intend in the making of the movie. So you kind of have to lead the eye of the viewer to just simply ensure that they don't miss anything that is key to the story. With that in mind, we tried a variety of techniques as well, from simple composition to other like basic things you would also do in cinema. But the more important thing was just the combination of movement and audio. We used our Bumblebee Fred a lot for that. Fred is flying in front of your face, so it immediately grabs your attention, and that is supported by his humming sound that is actually a spatial audio piece. So it actually is feeling like it's coming from left to right or right to left, and it feels like it's now in front of you. So that is like the magic also of Quill, because you can work so easily with spatial audio. And techniques like this really helped guiding the viewer's eye in our story.
It was a great experience. For me it was the first time and I'm surprised.
I think it was a really unique experience and I really liked the story and how it was told.
Overall, I did quite enjoy it, as it was quite a new and exciting experience, I'd say. I guess the main difference is immersion, as you kind of feel like you're part of the story and as if you were involved into the action.
Yeah, you're really in the zone, I would say. It's really a whole new experience from watching a normal video.
I felt like I was much more in the middle of the action rather than just being a spectator, which is quite hard to describe, which is why I would just recommend trying it out and putting on a VR headset.
I would recommend that everybody who has a chance should go into this experience.
Overall, we are really happy with our workflow and the end result. We think that programs like Quill could be one of the most interesting storytelling tools of the future. And we are super happy to be part of that journey.